Welcome to Gunners Are Us, where we are positively Arsenal.
Or are we really just positively
Postseason.
Yeah. Or football? Are we just positively football? We already got TJ saying good morning in the chat. So this week's episode, if you're listening to iTunes or Spotify, it's a TikTok special. So because we're in this bizarre twilight zone known as the postseason,
I feel weird.
Arsenal, I've already got some diamonds coming in as well. This is fantastic. Nothing's happening with Arsenal at all.
Nope.
But we're not at the Euros yet. And the transfer window doesn't open for like another 2 days. So because of all these things, we've not got as much to talk about, but football generally does have some stuff happening. You know, we've got the manager go around.
Yep.
We've got speculation on a couple of transfers, including Marcus Rashford.
Ooh.
Other than that, it's like Champions League finals coming up. We had that FA Cup. Obviously, the impending 115 charges we talk about every week. That's a thing. Leicester might be starting with a 6 to 15 point deduction, having just lost their manager to Chelsea. So there's all these different things going on in the football world, but it's not immediate, and it's definitely not Arsenal based. And it, like I said, when the podcast last week, the last episode of the season, we just felt like we'd have to wait for transfer window. We'd have to wait for Euros and
We're playing a waiting game in limbo.
But I really thought something would happen this week that would be at least a big talking point.
We could talk about Ten Hag.
We could talk about Ten Hag. We could talk about Manchester United because they got that big FA Cup win, which was really good for them. Which obviously, here's some Arsenal news. We're not in a Community Shield.
Boom.
Which Joe's sad about because he loves it. But the other thing is there's a curse that comes with Community Shield that you do not win the league when you win the Community Shield. So maybe it's a good sign. Here we go. So basically what I'm saying is this episode is going to be a TikTok special. So whoever's in the TikTok, get your questions in. We'll just talk about whatever comes through. Just Dud says, can you see Arsenal signing 2 forwards this summer? And Bruno has done this, so get my manager's name out your mouth. That guy is such a troll. He's in here every week.
I know, right? I can almost hear him breathing.
Yeah. Some would say he's been on the podcast before. And I mean, we said something positive. That's how Friday is. We were like Ten Hag and his big win, and then,
it's a good week for
Ten Hag. Then he freaks out. So he's obviously a little bit fried. But the question before was really good about Arsenal signing 2 potential players, let's say. Talking to Ten Hag, there is a little bit of rumor going around that Rashford has actually spoken to Arsenal, which again don't really know if there's any truth to that.
Yeah,
it feels like that one's been around for like a year.
You mean the Trafford Mbappe?
The Trafford Mbappe is very good, and we will use that if he does sign. I'm not against it. I don't dislike the player, but I also can't stand watching him at times. Because I feel like the one thing I'd say I can't have is people walking around.
Do you know what he does like though?
What?
A broken toy.
He does like a broken toy. This is the Havertz deal. Is he going to try and fix another one? Because they're clearly good players.
He's a fixer.
Yeah, but I don't. The one thing I don't know. Again, if Bruno's in the chat, tell me in the chat. Is Rashford ever been someone who works very hard, or is it a new thing? So is it something that he's like just not enjoying his football? Is it just in him that he is, a fast forward who doesn't necessarily want to track back, things like that? I'd love to know more of that. And someone did mention the transfers tend to come in after the Euros and stuff, of course. Yeah. Bruno reckons it's newish with the Rashford thing. So that could be something they're looking at and just saying he's clearly not happy. Maybe he needs that kind of new home or a new place just to kind of enjoy his football.
I feel like with someone like Rashford,
when he doesn't have something to play for, is what Bruno said.
That's what I was about to say.
Trashford Mbappe is what Rash said.
No, I was going to say, I think it's the environment, but it's also not winning stuff. Like for a player like Rashford, who wants to be playing for like trophies, wants to be playing for a little bit of glory, Arsenal's in a prime position to start bringing in some glory. So I think it's a good switch, even though he is a childhood United fan.
Yeah,
so it'd be a weird choice for him to make, but on a professional level, I think it's a good choice.
Just Duds, I'm sorry, but you send in 6 footballs there and about 4 potatoes or something. I don't know. That was fantastic. It was tofu, 4 tofu. Thank you so much for that.
I like you've got the sound on.
Yeah, we got the sound on.
I like that. I like hearing it.
It's TikTok special this week.
Yeah, I like hearing the sound though. I like the noise of something coming in, like an achievement.
Bruno, to finish off on the Rashford, Bruno said, I think personal stuff messes him up, and then he wants to get a fat contract.
Yeah.
Hopefully he doesn't get such a fat contract at Arsenal that all the other players become unhappy. And it ruins the whole thing.
Yeah.
There was another one. If Trafford from Dynamo, if Trafford is in goal for England, then they are done already. I don't think Trafford will be in goal for England.
No.
So, some would say he might be the fourth keeper that gets dropped. The number 4. There was a couple in there. I just wanted to make sure I got to there. I can see Jesus and Nketiah leaving this summer. I would cash in on Jesus this summer while we can from Just Studs.
I can see that.
It's so tough. There's two things going on at a minute as well. When you look at Smith Rowe and Vieira, one of them will be sold. And I think as Arsenal fans, we naturally want Smith Rowe to stay.
Yeah.
They're both very good players, but they both need to be playing a lot more. And I think Eddie and Jesus are like that. But I do think Jesus, the fact he can play off the left and the right, makes him, and down the middle, makes him a much better depth than Eddie, because Eddie is just a straight up poacher.
He's an experienced winner as well.
Yeah, and again, I know a lot of Arsenal fans would say Zinchenko and Jesus were the reason we lost, and that's why Man City got rid of them. But I don't think that is true. I think he's a really good player, but he shouldn't be our main starter.
Yeah.
Frank Lampard for next Burnley manager. What do you think of that?
I'd like to see more Lampard again, just because of the funny memes.
The Lampard like saying something funny and then changing to serious is one of the best things in football.
Yeah.
I think Burnley's about his level in the Championship.
Burnley's about serious as it gets.
I think that's what he needs. He needs to step back from the Premier League or anywhere and just actually cultivate a team, because maybe there is a manager in there. He just needed less pressure. Lampard is the best player football has ever seen. That's from an account called Chelsea, so that would make sense. He's a very good football player.
He's very good.
I like Lampard. Just Studs also said, I think Smith Rowe will go out on loan. Vieira this season is make or break for him. That's another option. I think Smith Rowe's representatives were actually meeting with Arsenal this week to decide what they should do with him. Maresca as manager and Fabregas as assistant manager. That's from Chelsea, obviously. I assume this is about Chelsea.
That'd be cool.
It would be good.
I'd like to see Cesc back in the Premier League.
And Just As also said, do you see Rashford getting in our first team? That's the one.
I think if he comes in and he works hard, I think he will. I think that's a player that has to be, for his confidence alone. Because if he comes to us and doesn't play, we'll get boo-boo face Rashford all over again.
Yeah, that's the issue. Isaac and Bruno keep being mentioned. Yeah, I've seen that from Fash, that is. That's the one that seems to have a lot of talk. I just don't see Newcastle not just selling those two players to a rival, technically, for top 4, but I don't see them both leaving this summer to anyone. Yeah. I think one will go, and I think it'll be Bruno. I think they'll do everything they can to keep hold of Isaac, because it's easier to find a midfielder that'll go box to box than it is to find a forward as good as Isaac, in my opinion. Could be wrong, but that's just an opinion from me.
That's all that matters here, because this is our opinions.
Yeah, yeah. Ramsdale 40 million for Isaac. Would you take it? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I heard rumors of having him having the next number 9 shirt, and also Just Studs with another. I think it's a heart now. I love this.
What was the last number 9 shirt we had?
Lacazette.
Wow.
Who's the current one? Is there one?
I don't think there is.
We've been stupid.
Jesus.
Is
he number 9? I always feel like he has something else.
Yeah, Mbappe being unstoppable from Dynamo when going to Madrid. That Madrid team's going to be mad next year. And they're going to have to lose one, and that's where I think Arsenal could reap the benefits, is I think Rodrigo will be available. Yeah. And I think if we're looking at a winger like Rashford, and I know there's a homegrown issue, because there could be a chance that Ramsdale, Tierney, Smith Rowe, and Nketiah, Nelson, there's a lot of homegrown guys going, and they might be worrying now as, we might want this forward, but we need someone who's homegrown. So that might be why Rashford is so talked about. Bell says Ramsdale's lost his worth. That is the worry. Is this time last year, Opta put out the most expensive keepers in the world, like the value. He was the most expensive keeper in world football over Alisson, Ederson, everyone. And he was at 78 million euros. And a year later, he's played 5 games. He's been fine. And now people are talking about 12 million to Newcastle, and I was just like, that that would be bad selling. I know Bruno in the chat said that like Man United are quite bad with they get ripped off when they go looking. Arsenal are awful at selling. That's our issue. Is we sold Thierry Henry for 16 million the same year Darren Bent went for 16 million. I'll never forget that.
I think that's what Ramsdale needs though, because if when he was in our team, he was the most expensive goalkeeper in the world at that point. He needs to go to a club where he can play because it's a product of his environment. We've changed our style that he doesn't play. He needs to go somewhere where he can play. And I think with time, he will get back to hopefully.
Yeah. And saying that, I know that the Raya deal looks like it's definitely being done. Still not official. So there's still a chance that deal can't get done. I wonder if we loan him and they try and get that price back up.
Yeah.
Flash says we sold Henry as a favour to him. Yeah, but still, I don't know. We've just a history of us when we lose. I know Fabregas forced it and he was 30 million. I mean, and again, at the time, we weren't seeing many 60, 70 millions. But I mean, Ramsdale, to me, we bought him for 30 million, I think.
Yeah.
He's still 30 million minimum to me. Because he's wherever he goes, he's going to be world class.
Yeah.
I believe Man United need a forward and a defender. Well, you saw how the difference in them when Martinez played the other day.
Saying that about how we sell players, it's crazy how we haven't cashed in on so many Hale End kids. Like Iwobi is the only person I can think of who was in that bracket. Martinez was one of them.
Yeah,
but the amount of quality Hale End kids that come through, we don't often cash in. We hold on to them.
Well, Conquo went out on loan at Wrexham and had a great time, and we've just lost him for free.
Yeah,
because his contract ran out. So
we tend to hold on to them till they're kind of beyond the point where people are somewhat excited about them.
Well, I think that's one of the issues that we've had in general is I don't think we sell when they're hot because I think we're worried that we can't replace them.
Yeah, and
that's understandable. But you look at teams like Brighton and Brentford and places like that, they do this. They strike when it's hot, and everyone goes, "Oh, how are they going to recover from this?" And then they do. Yeah. But again, it starts from the top all the way down. There's a couple of good questions coming in there. Who would you go for as a number 2 as a backup from Just Duds? For me, I think Jason Steele would be a good one. I know Chesney's been talked about, but I think Jason Steele is almost Ramsdale 2.0.
Yeah,
but he's better with his feet, having played so long at Brighton and other teams. So I think he'd be a good number 2, and I think he'd be willing because he's a number 2 at Brighton.
Yeah.
So to move from Brighton to Arsenal as a number 2, I think that's a big step up. Whereas someone like Ramsdale knows he should be first team. Jason Steele might want to be the first team, but if he's thinking it's either stay at Brighton and do this or go to Burnley in the Championship, let's say, or go to Arsenal and be number 2 and play Carabao Cup, FA Cup, and maybe get a Champions League game here and there, that's a big step. So it's something we can offer him, and it's London, things like that. So I don't know. I think Jason Steele would be a really nice one. Ramsdale, 30 million all day from Fash. Nelson and Ketty only signed new deals, so we didn't lose them on a free. Yeah, that's definitely what happened. But now you got to get that money, and it's tough to get money when they just don't play.
Yeah,
and again, like Nelson, I think is a 15-20 million pound player. Like I think if you're in the lower half of the Premier League or the top end of the Championship, I mean that's going to be your guy.
Yeah.
Like you could take him to, like someone like Brentford. I think Wissa, Mbappe. Wissa and Mbeumo and then Nelson, when you're losing people like Tony and that as a front 3, and they've lost Mope as well.
Yeah.
That's real good depth. And I mean, the money they're going to get for Tony will easily cover like a Nelson or an Eddie or someone like that.
They can bulk out this squad a little bit as well.
Dianio. That's not Dynamo. I apologize. Dianio. Wrexham to get to the Prem eventually. I do. I'm currently watching the doc.
I've only seen the first season.
Yeah, I'm into near the end of the second season. I think they will. And it's tough as well because
it's Hollywood. They're gonna get to the Premier League. It's a story they're telling.
That's the bit that's really odd is when you're watching it, I can see how they struggled to get out of the National League the first year. Then second year they got out and then they got back-to-back promotions. That's awesome. But then you start thinking, look at Just Duds coming here for it. Look at the footballs coming through. We've got 28, 31, 33. Name an Arsenal player, 37, 40.
Whoa.
Walcott, he's up to 50 here. What is happening? Just Duds.
How many balls you got in that bag?
Yes, boy. 52. They really struggled. I think you can buy certain players that are really going to push. Like they went and got Mullen, they got Ollie Palmer, they got those kind of players. They went and got Ben Foster. These helped. They got a Conquo. It helped. They've done all these things. They've kept some of the youngsters that came through with them. They've brought in a couple of defenders from higher up. But I think once you get to League One, like they are now in Championship, it's not just, you can't just buy, like there's talking a minute, Coutinho is available for 6 million or a loan from Aston Villa, and everyone said that's got Wrexham written all over it. And I understand that, but at some point you can't be the team that buys the 32-year-old ex-Premier League player, because that won't actually get you to the Premier League.
No.
They have to actually just, create a very good Championship squad, and then when they get to the Premier League, then they have to reinvest into better players again.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're now hitting the level, and this year they might end up just mid-table.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they're not billionaire owners. Like they're massive owners considering they were in the National League. Once you hit the Championship and that, they're one of the lesser expense teams.
You're somewhat relying on players, not like Coutinho, but that, like what Foster did. Players that want to jump into the bandwagon.
Sophie's here as well. I just wanted to.
Hey, Sophie, good to see you again.
Say hello.
Yeah, because of the ownership and stuff, you're hoping for like Premier League players that are interested in jumping on that bandwagon and being involved. Because this story, if they do complete this, if they finish their story, it will be told throughout history.
Yeah,
it's one of those stories, and if you're a part of it, that's fun. And you're not going to get like current quality players, but you may get like Scott Carson might give it a go.
Well, this is the thing, is that their director of football that they brought in is really good. The other guy's basically like an actor. So it's a really odd situation. But the director of football guy has done really well with other teams that have gone all the way up to the Championship and the Premier League. So that's the important.
They've done their homework.
Yeah, that guy is good, and he's the one running it. Because that's the thing, is when you look across teams like Brighton, Wigan, Luton, they've done the thing where you go from like National League to Premier League, 5 leagues in 10 years, let's say.
Yeah.
And that's really impressive, because we've been in the Premier League where teams have come up and everyone said, oh, they've had back-to-back promotions for 4 years running or something. You're like, how do they do that? So it is possible, and it is very possible with their owners. But when you think about it, you also have, all those teams probably had amazing sporting directors and things like that. Whereas this just has 2 Hollywood actors, a low-level actor that's helping run the business, and then there's a football director.
And a hell of a lot of publicity.
Yeah, and again, it will attract a lot more players, because when you get to the Championship, there's a lot of Championship players that might go, I want to go there because I want to hang out with Ryan Reynolds.
There's also a lot of people, a lot of celebrities walking around in Hollywood with Wrexham shirts on now. So,
well, they said in that first season that their turnover for kits, like how much they made, was £5,000 over the year. In that first year that they joined, it went up to 50 grand.
Wow!
In 1 year.
Wow!
So I mean, that's massive. Dennis, the poet, says, "Please don't steal Eze or Elise." I'm going to be honest. There's Mateta, Elise, and Eze. A lot of people think all 3 might go. Some people think 2. I actually have a take that I think only 1's going to go.
I think they'll be quite excited about what's going on.
That's Elise signed a new deal and refused Chelsea last year. So, their heads might be, could be another Zaha who does kind of want to stay.
And they're in a good spot. I'm excited to see what Palace do.
Yeah, I think the one that could leave is Mateta. Because I think Napoli are snooping with Osimhen moving on.
See that.
We've got Just Urds. Party leaves. Maybe Ben White could move up the defensive mid with Timber returning. I think there's a way of doing it. I've also seen that Partey believes he's going to be at Arsenal next year, he said, even though there was all that rumours. And I don't mind that, because, again, similar to Jesus, if we go from Eddie being the backup to Jesus being the backup to a new world-class forward, that's improvement. If we go to, in this case, El Nani leaves, Partey becomes a new El Nani, and then Jorginho stays as Jorginho and Rice stays as Rice. That depth is way better, because that depth chart, all of a sudden, where El Nani is, which he would just never play, is Partey, who might be our best midfielder. So that depth there, all of a sudden, if you start any game at 6 as any 3 of them, you'd be happy. And that also means you don't have to buy another 6 this year. You could just look for that left 8. So instead of going to find, a centre forward, a winger, a left 8, holding midfielder to replace Partey, a new goalie to replace Ramsdale, all these, it becomes very like there's 8 signings and 9 people leave. I think certain people you have to retain. So, like, if you can retain Ramsdale, there's no goal, it has to be signed. If you can, keep Zinchenko, keep all these players, and not offload them, Timber's back. That's like a new signing. Then you go get Bruno Guimaraes. You can spend a lot more on that. And you've got 3 good DMs, and then you've got Rice or Bruno that can play left 8. Then Odegaard, and then you promote, and where he's been promoted to the senior team this year. Then you got Smith Rowe or Vieira. The one that doesn't get sold is to challenge Odegaard this year. Then you go and spend big money on a winger or a centre forward that can, again, Jesus is still there, let's say, but you get rid of Eddie and Nelson. Jesus can play right wing instead of Saka. He can play left wing instead of Martinelli or Trossard. He can play centre forward instead of Havertz. So you only need to bring in a Rodrigo type who can play across the front line as well.
And put that little bit of...
Yeah, that little bit of stardust. And then you've got everyone across that front three, and then there's just options everywhere. And the depth, you're never worried about the depth. Like Martinelli can't play, Trossard plays.
Yeah.
You're happy. If Saka can't play, Jesus is on the right or Rodrigo's on the right. You're happy. If Havertz is not up front, Rodrigo goes up front.
Yeah.
If he's not there, Trossard could play false nine. Smith Rowe could play false nines. Jesus is still there. So there's all these things. And then Bereth, is it, that's out on loan at the minute? The youth guy, the big Aryan lad.
Yeah.
He's smashing records in every country he seems to go to. He might also be back. So there's people like that, you know, Eddie has been kind of the youth prospect for like 7 years.
Yeah.
Where is that next one? Where's that next 18, 19-year-old that, you know, need to play the Carabao Cup when it turns out he could play, you know?
Well, judging from the documentary with Jack Wilshere and his guys, there is a lot in there.
There's loads. We've got a load of good players. And we're losing Raul Walters, I think, is gone.
Yeah.
Conquo's gone. Patino wants out. I think Sambi Lokonga this week said that he's looking to leave.
Okay.
Because he's met with Arsenal. I'm sorry, it just keeps blabbering on, but I think Mateta would be a solid signing. I really agree.
Yeah, big time.
Elise to United from Bruno.
Ooh.
And Sophie says, "How are we both?" That's a nice break. We are good.
Yeah, good. I think if Rashford goes to Arsenal, Elise to Man United is potentially there.
Would people look? That's interesting because if Elise goes to United and Rashford goes to Arsenal, surely everyone sees that Man United won that whole thing.
I don't know.
And I know, and also I know that there was a year where Konate went to Liverpool. Man United got Varane and we got Ben White, and everyone laughed and said we're the joke.
Yeah.
Whereas 3 years on, we're pretty happy.
Yeah.
Like last year, Chelsea moved on Havertz, Mount, and Kovacic. And I mean, Mount obviously has had a bad year for injuries.
Yeah.
But then you've got Jorginho did what he did with us, and then Kovacic won the title and the FA Cup. So when they did that, people felt like Chelsea were getting the bet and they were moving on some old trash, basically, and it hasn't worked that way. So maybe it isn't. Just as said, I'd take Rashford 8 days out of 7. Do you know what? The speed of him is what really interests me, but I don't think he looked... Walker's the fastest defender, and the other day I felt like Garnacho had way more pace than Rashford.
Yeah.
Not they're against the same defender, but it just, I don't know, it just looked it.
I think Rashford with Arteta in charge and getting the best out of him, that excites me. Because we know what Rashford's capable of.
Yeah.
He is an England international all day.
Yeah.
Should be firing on all cylinders, isn't. So
we got a question from Matty as well. Man United have not had a better season than Arsenal, but any match-going fan would prefer a trophy. It's been an interesting one. The minute they won it, I thought that online conversation is going to be hard to watch. I think as a fan, it rescues you a little bit with that trophy. I'll say Arsenal were there in 2020. We came 8th, just like Man United, and we won the FA Cup.
Yeah.
And I felt very happy about the FA Cup, but I didn't feel good at where we were.
I'd much rather have watched our season we just did than Man United.
That's what I was going to say was we've been in both now. And I definitely preferred this one, knowing like we could challenge next year, the Champions League, whereas Man United, where we were in 2020, where you're happy with the FA Cup, you're happy with Europa Cup, but you feel like that is your level at that point, which is fine. Because there was a point there where I didn't want Arsenal in Champions League because I don't think we could even compete.
Yeah.
Whereas this year's proved that I think we could with a bit more experience. So I don't know. I think every fan would have a different opinion on who's had the better season. I'm happy where I am.
Yeah.
But I definitely could see why people, because that's what at the end of the day, like we've talked about it on here forever. Like if you get to see your team walk those stairs at Wembley and win a trophy, there's teams, there's fans in here that right now have never seen their team do that.
Yeah.
Whether it's a Carabao, a Community, an FA Cup, a Premier League, a Champions League, a Europa, a Conference League, they've never seen it. So they'll take any. Like when West Ham won the conference, it was like they won the World Cup.
Yeah.
And that should be because they hadn't watched their team win a trophy for 50 years. So you can't ever turn your nose up at things like that, even if you're in a bad place. And Man United will always come back. So Man United could challenge next year.
Yeah.
Whereas when we won the FA Cup, that was around the time that I think Liverpool won the league that year. It was deep in the Klopp versus Pep, and we were so poor.
Nowhere near.
Like the way in which you won that trophy that year was we played it like Wigan winning the trophy.
Oh, we were desperately just trying to get our hands on it.
We played how Man United played the final, which I thought was very good tactics to go against City, and I wish more teams would do it. We did that the whole way through the FA Cup because that's all we could do.
Yeah.
And whereas Man United, I think, could walk over other teams, whereas we couldn't at the time. So Man United are in a different place, even though they came 8th as well. But who knows? Got Bruno's done. We've got Man United fans saying stuff, so we need to check that. Oh my god. I don't know what I just did. I don't know if I just I think I just put my card on there. Happy about the cup. I take Arsenal season. That's for a Man United fan. Yeah, I can see how people would be happy with either. Adam Wharton at Palace, unbelievable player from Charlie Beaumont.
Yeah.
He feels like young Declan Rice to me. I feel like right now it's.
Yeah.
You remember when Rice first came to West Ham and he was the young guy and everyone was like, that guy's going to be good.
Yeah.
But then you kind of forgot about him for like 2 years. And then we realized, that is our England's best midfielder.
Yeah.
At that point. I think he is that.
Yeah.
I think he just, again, he played the last 6 months of that season really. And he looked good. And he looks good under a good coach with a good forwards ahead of him. If this was a year prior and he came in, I don't know if he'd look as good. But again, I think he's special, but I don't know if he'll make that England squad. When was the last time Arsenal had a striker that bullied defenders? Would have loved Costa in his prime. That's from Just Duds. I think
it's Van Persie.
Van Persie was a really good. He didn't necessarily bully players, but he would win fouls and kind of make it awkward. Havertz it plays very similar to Van Persie.
Yeah,
he's nowhere near the level of Van Persie as a striker, but the way in which he holds the ball up, wins fouls, drops in, uses his body, that kind of stuff, takes pressure off us. That's Van Persie was the last time I think. Yeah.
God, I don't think we've ever had a striker that bullies.
No, and that's the only reason I like the idea of Tony is I think it was the Munich game. We needed a goal, and it was a bit passive. It was a bit kind of go out wide. We can't get into the box. Go back. I was like, just put it in there. And again, Havertz is tall. He's good in the air. But someone like Tony, it's kind of like a feeling, like how Martinez at Villa does it. He can kind of get the whole crowd against him.
Yeah.
And it changes everything. The atmosphere, the other team then get emotional, and you can kind of find spots. We need that type of, like Costa, like a horrible, just someone who's going to, every single game is a new time to become a villain, essentially, that kind of thing.
We never have we?
No.
We've never. I mean, Henry and players like that, they were more finesse.
Yeah, it's always
arrogant.
Finesse. That's why Isaac fits us so well.
Yeah, or Watkins, players like that. Like, they just get on with it. Like, there's no.
Just Dad said, would you take Antonio if he was 5 years younger? I don't know. I've never really overly rated Antonio. But he's the kind of power we need.
Yeah.
Because I just, Havertz play like our dad has a comment on Havertz, which he loves. He thinks Havertz is great. He said, but he plays like the whistle's already blown. And that's exactly what it is. A bit Berbatov. It's a bit, it gets the job done. But sometimes you do kind of want a guy that's just big, mean, and just kind of like pushes through.
Yeah.
Like I said, becomes a bit of a villain sometimes. Would you take Giroud back for one more year? I don't think I would now from Charlie Beaumont, but I would. I love Giroud. He is so underrated. I think him and Walcott will never get their flowers as Arsenal players, but I mean, God, did they try and help us through a bad time. He also did some horrible things for us. Like, I think we went out of a Champions League once because Giroud missed like 9 sitters. So, there's some bad ones.
He's a bit hit and miss. I guess he would be underrated, wouldn't he? Because, I mean, he did achieve stuff, but yeah, you'd still call him underrated.
It's like Walcott when you look back, because we've actually had a conversation with Bruno, who's in the chat. I was like, is Walcott, and who's better, Walcott or Rashford? And then naturally we all go, oh, Rashford.
Yeah.
But then we got up like the appearances, goals, assists, things like that. I was like, it's pretty much neck and neck.
Yeah.
And you start to think, and like, I don't know. When you look at it, I think you think of Rashford's also won some more trophies than Walcott, things like that. But when you just look at it, you go, because I was just like a pacey winger.
Yeah.
Who has a really good finish on his day and a really bad finish on his day. And I was like, they're kind of identical the way they play. But then the other day I was watching a comp that came up. There was like Walcott, something to do happened with Walcott, and Arsenal put up a thing. Some of the goals he scored were mad.
He was nuts.
He'd like drift underneath people's legs and also he's like sliding on his knees. Remember that hat trick against Newcastle?
Yeah, the amount of times you get the ball on the right and just take off and then just whoop, 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 and he's gone. Like, and then he put it in as well. Like, you finish every time.
But Rashford's good. Like this year, literally, he's against City, he smashed the ball from about 25 yards, crossbar and in. He's got that, that hit that he does. That's like the Ronaldo hit, the one that moves and stuff. He does that.
No backlift.
But that's what I mean. So sometimes when you look at his raw mechanics, you're like, that guy should be, and also he's the last 3 or 4 years, Man United have been on a downturn.
Yeah.
So Bruno says Rashford came in under Louis van Gaal. He hasn't won that many trophies. Yeah, because Van Gaal won the FA Cup, right? Yeah. I think. And then Ten Hag's won the FA Cup, Carabao Cup. Oh, did he miss all the what was that year that Jose won like a treble? But it was like the most mid treble you can win. So Europa Cup, Community Shield, and Carabao or something. It was something like that. But he's not won a lot, but I think he's won more than Walcott. I think Walcott might have a couple FA Cups, and that's it, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, because he was in that weird Arsenal era that ended with a couple FA Cups, I think. The Rashford, when you look at his mechanics, like unbelievable scorer. He can use his head. He's super fast. But I think instantly we were all thinking about kind of his work rate, where he's going to fit, all these kind of things. And I get that as well. But the one thing Arsenal are looking for right now is a really direct winger. Yeah. And is he that? I don't know.
Someone who's going to pull the trigger.
Yeah, if he's a happy person and he's enjoying his football and he's in a team that aren't necessarily, like I said, he's played under Man United when they've been very pressured and the crowd are on him, the crowd are against him, all that. He's coming into an Arsenal team that are definitely on an upward. Yeah. And the crowd aren't going to be on him. So, is that going to create a different thing? Because, like I said, his mechanics are just mad. Like, he does look... Like, if I'm watching a Man United game, I always assume he's going to get a shot on target or he's going to score or something. But I can't stand watching him at the minute. Like, personally, I really do get frustrated. I don't know how Man United fans watch it. So if he's going to come and walk around, then absolutely not. But... if he comes and he's the Rashford that beat Arsenal many times, then I'm happy with that. Thing with Havertz, I love him, but he's very clumsy. His challenges leaves you on edge. Yeah, he definitely he's a bit, I don't know how to. He's very tall. I'm going to say that. Up the Gunner says hello. But Havertz, I think he mentioned that. You remember that really bad tackle he did in the Newcastle away game, where Bruno got away with like 3 or 4 bad ones. Oh yeah, and then he just flew through someone. Probably should have been a red. He said that Arsenal said that they reckon that was his kind of turning point because it almost came out of his shell. He got so annoyed, he was just flying in. Yeah, and he had kind of come out of his shell that for a couple of years he felt apparently like very. I don't want to make big decisions on the field because I don't know what I'm supposed to be allowed to do, or whatever. And since then, and if you actually look since then, because around that time we gave him a penalty just to get.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, get
him off the mark. I mean, he ended up being our second top goal scorer. So.
What a smooth move from the captain to give him the ball that day.
Yeah, it's massive. And Waka Waka song started today. Always away at Bournemouth do all our songs start. Saliba's one started. I was fuming when he made that challenge. I just sent him off and I supposed, we said the same on the podcast that it was a clear red. I think him and Bruno should have been not on the field that day. Yeah. And ironically, they'll both be on the field for us next year. We're going to win next season. Yeah, the nice thing is going into this season is there's a looming charges that might come into effect during the season, which means our main rival might have massive point deductions or something going on with them. Yeah. The other fear is that this is, we couldn't be more perfect than last year. I don't think we'll be as good as last year, points wise, but Man City might also not be. Yeah. But I just don't see what team is really going to challenge. The only one you can kind of think of is who Charlie Berman's bringing out, which is Enzo and becoming the manager at Chelsea, coming from Leicester. Yeah. And he seems to be the love child of Arteta and Pep because this guy took Arteta's job at Man City. Okay. When Arteta went to Arsenal. He only did a year and then he went back into we went out into management. But when you visibly look at him, it's Arteta with a bald head and a beard. And that is what makes it really strange. So based on the fact that he looks like their love child, he'd be very good. But I think he is a good manager. And when you look at the style that Leicester played this year, if he can implement that, it's very good. But again, watch how Ten Hag played at Ajax. It's you can't just, join a team and be like, I could teach them how to play this way. A lot of the players know how to play that way. They're just choosing not to. When you look at the level of the Premier League, can they play that style? You could play Leicester in the Championship, that style. Can you teach these guys that? I don't know. And if they do, he will, let's say, it's still going to take 6 months, 9 months, a year, maybe 2 years. So therefore, I don't know if they will challenge, but I think they're the next kind of and we don't know what Arnie Slot's Liverpool are going to be like. This could be a situation where, first year, first wins a trophy, like straight off the bat.
Yeah.
But I just think there's some question marks around them. Salah looks like he's about to sign a new deal. Van Dijk looks like he might move on. That's huge. And I don't think, and Salah's only going to get worse at this point. He's still going to score more goals than most. But it feels a bit like Arsenal at the end of Wenger and Emery kind of time.
Yeah.
Because post a big manager like that, it's really hard to go again.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, their main man has just signed a massive deal. And right at the end of our Wenger, we did the Ozil deal.
Yeah.
That got made. Basically, Ramsey and a few others had to leave because of it. And we're going into Emery. And then with Emery, then we gave Aubameyang a brand new huge contract, which kind of destroyed us as well. So we ended up spending a couple of years trying to offload these players. So it could go one of two ways. First year could be, rookie, like in the NFL, like that rookie year, that first year, it just goes off. Or they can be a situation over the next couple of years where they're trying to offload players, people like Salah, because he's dipped in form after his big last contract. They have to pay him off, and as a knock on because your Gravenberg, Szoboszlais, and your Gakpos and Diaz's go. If he's getting paid that, I want to get at least half. Then they have to change their wage. Then their agents start looking for other deals. Then they go, oh god, we get rid of Salah, otherwise everyone else is going to leave. Then you've also people unhappy. The manager didn't work because of that. There's a new manager. These things happen when that kind of that's the problem with having a manager for so long. Like I'd love him to have 10 years.
Yeah.
But then I'm going to have to go through 3 years of us trying to find a new one that's going to be half as good as him. Whereas at least if you're like, that's why Man City, I think for a long time, they used to do 3 years, 2 years, 3 years. And then after Pep, it's all going to collapse because they've also got a point deduction. So,
where do you reckon they go next after Pep? Like, what's the...
It really depends on where they are because they could be in the National League.
Yeah.
The Gunner says Pep's last season, next season. Yeah, he's pretty much alluded to that now. I think at the end of next season, whether they get a deduction or not, there'll be no Haaland at the end. Pep, Akanji, Rodri, De Bruyne.
Yeah.
And that is a massive turnaround because, not all of them will end up going. They'll probably convince some new deals and stuff. But that's if there's no point deduction. Like I said, that looming point deduction really changes things. But I think that it's time. De Bruyne is looking at that end of career.
Yeah.
Might move back to Belgium.
Picking up more injuries now as well.
Yeah, and Kanji, I think, is the big money signing. I think he's going to go to a Munich or someone, or even Madrid, because he's such a world-class centre-back.
Yeah.
I don't think he's necessarily tied there. And I think Haaland wants to win Ballon d'Ors, and you just cannot win Ballon d'Or in the Premier League for whatever reason. He won the treble and didn't win it. A guy in MLS won it. So he'll want to win all these, and same with Mbappe. I think that's why Mbappe won't end up in the Premier League, is they need to go to a Madrid or a Barca or a Munich or... I don't know. The only problem with Haaland is Mbappe takes from Madrid, let's say. Barca have no money.
Yeah.
Munich is over here somewhere. It's a bit of an odd one. He could, Haaland could go to Munich, but he's a Dortmund guy and a Leipzig guy, I think. Was he before Leipzig? He was somewhere before Dortmund.
Schalke, maybe?
Somewhere. Very much those guys don't really like Munich because of that. City's where his dad played. He's done that. He won't go to another Premier League team. PSG, Haaland could go to and be like, do you know what I want to do? Go score the jokiest amount of goals because those teams will have high lines he can run behind.
Yeah.
And he win a Ballon d'Or, and he might try and get them a Champions League because they just can't do it.
Yeah.
So you might see that as a thing. The Rainmaker, Okada himself, is in with Salzburg before Dortmund.
My goodness.
Yeah, I just feel like if you're Salzburg and Dortmund, you're not going to go to Munich. And I don't know if Munich will pay. I know it's paid for Kane. And Munich in the last couple of years getting Lewandowski, Kane, Haaland would make sense.
Yeah.
It's just kind of buying top forwards. But I don't know. You'd think Madrid, but Mbappe's going to take that. And I just don't think Barca have the money. And therefore, it is kind of PSG.
That's the team.
And it's... Yeah, he could go to Italy. He could do AC Inter or something.
Yeah.
Because it depends what's in his head. He might be a guy going, I'll just stay at City. But the impending points really do... if there was no point deduction thing coming or anything or no charges, he might look at it and go, I'm going to play until I'm 30.
Yeah.
And I'm going to win Premier Leagues every year. I'm going to win Champions League every other year. I'm going to win the FA Cup. And at the end of it, I'm going to go, I won everything.
Yeah.
Or he might in his head be like, I did 2 years at Dortmund, or I did 3 years at City. Then I want to go do Italy. Then I want to do Spain because Mbappe might have moved at that point. And, I don't know. So it all depends on that. Up the Gunners. Thoughts on Rashford's coming to us. So we've just done about 20 minutes on it. So go to Spotify and iTunes as of the end of today and download the pod because we've talked about it loads. But kind of the thoughts are if we get the Rashford now, no. If we get the Rashford and the mechanics that he's always had before and a happy one that's going to work, I'm very much for
Mikel can fix him.
I'll tell you, like he's got such a hard job dealing with Pep and hard job of the poison chalice of Arsenal, and he likes to just buy Havertz and Rashfords and that and be like, I'm going to make my life a little bit harder and a bit more pressured. Because going into next year, I think everyone just sees us as the team that could challenge on all four fronts.
Yeah,
and challenge City. For whatever reason, he also wants to add the pressure now of every week the pundits going, is Rashford worth it? Is it blah, blah?
Yeah.
So let's see. Okada says, reckon we go for Xavi Simons. I think that'd be a really good sign. I really liked him at PSV. He's been on loan, obviously, but he's an interesting. I really do like him. He seems like a cheaper version than Bruno.
Yeah.
But Edu's tweet this week, he was talking about transfers and getting it done, how long it takes, and he was saying basically one of the words he said in there that made me think was Premier League tested was one of like 5 things he kind of talked about. And if not, can they acclimatize? And I very much, and if you've looked at Arteta and Edu's track record, they very much like to buy from the Premier League.
Yeah.
Because they can guarantee that there's no turnaround. Up the Gunners. I'm Tom, by the way. Up the Gunners is Tom.
No. Wow, you blew us with that. Change your name.
Jeez.
Hey, Tom.
Tell us what's going to happen in the Champions League final.
Yeah, give us. You're like the octopus that predicts. You know the octopus.
I know the octopus. I know the octopus.
Maybe Tom is the octopus.
Right. Maybe he is. He's got 8 accounts, and he's got them on all them, and he's helping us out.
I've got a visual of like just wet like octopus arms just sticking to an iPhone screen.
Yeah.
Like,
I wish I didn't have that thought. That's awesome. Yeah, I don't know. Champions League, but the other thing I want to talk about quickly was the Champions League final this week. Predictions in the chat. What do you think? Dortmund, Munich, where are we at? We now got Southampton back up in the Premier League, which is curtains for Arsenal, which is cool. I do think Madrid will just win it. They haven't really turned up, but they've managed to get here.
Yeah.
So I just feel like they will turn up, and Dortmund's legs have got to be gone. They've had a bad season. They've been unbelievable in the Champions League and kind of getting through these games. But surely they're going to hit a point where the Madrid quality shows. Because up the Gunners, Tom says Madrid 2-1.
Well, there it is.
That's the answer. So there's no point in talking about
it. My head tells me Madrid are going to win it all day, but my heart has a soft spot for Dortmund. I think Dortmund could win it. I think the fan turned manager has got to finish his story. So this is it.
Yeah, it really is a tough one. But you do think like Vinicius has been really good in the Champions League, but Bellingham the last 3-4 months has kind of disappeared. There's things like that. It's written all over that Bellingham in his home country's stadium against his former team, he's going to have something to say.
Yeah.
CH West Ham says Dortmund to win 2-0. That'd be an interesting one. Okada says opening day Southampton 1-0 Arsenal. Adam Armstrong. Do you know what? After 15 plus shots on target for Arsenal, yes,
that's definitely happening.
Chelsea says Enzo's going to win us the league next season. We have chatted a little bit and said you could be in the running. He's going to be very good or very bad. That's what we kind of said was, can he transition that style? Because the style's good. And the style is a Pep Arteta, it's that family tree.
Yeah.
But we don't know. I was going to say, we're coming to the end of the podcast here. Believe it or not, we're hitting the 45-minute mark. But this podcast we've done, so if you've been in the TikTok, will be up on iTunes and Spotify today. Shane O'Max just joined.
What?
Here comes the money! Dalla. And if you can see this is a backup recording. It's not our main recording. Pepper created his bloodline before leaving. Is funny. That is funny. Yes, it is. Who's the Sami Zayn, though?
Ooh.
I think it's De Bruyne with the chair.
Yeah.
De Bruyne was Sami Zayn the whole time. He's from the inside.
It was the red hair.
He's going to leave and the whole thing will fall apart. Chelsea says Madrid to win 1-0. So, yeah, that has been the podcast. It's iTunes and Spotify if you want to hear this back. And again, if you're listening to on iTunes and Spotify, we've done the whole thing on TikTok Live, which is on Gunners Are Us. We do 2 videos per day, trying to get to that 10K mark. So let your friends know. Give us a like, give us a sub. we have a subscription part of our TikTok where you can get extra lives and things like that. But we're going to work towards it. Before we go, though, Chelsea says Rodrigo 67 minutes.
Well, there it is.
There you go. Thank you very much. We have been the Gunners R Us podcast. We have been Positively Football. We haven't got an outro or anything like that.
No.
We're a little bit in flux in a minute. It feels a bit weird. But next week, we can really start getting amped up about the squad changing for the Euros. Start getting amped for the Euros. What teams we think could be in it to win it. Ones that aren't. And then after that, we'll be in the Euros. So we can start actually predicting a couple matches. Doing our own little thing here, trying to figure out who's going to win each match. And with football every day, so that's going to be brilliant again. Then as soon as that finishes, also there's going to be transfers during all of it. Probably more likely at the end of it, just because players are busy. But hey, football, there's no day where there's no information. Do you know what I mean? This week was pretty nothing happening, and every manager in the world changed club. So here we go. Anyway, we will see you next Wednesday, 10 a.m. GMT. This one's been a bit early because I'm actually going to go. My foster dog's getting adopted, so I need to go do that adoption. So there you go. Need a Clash of the Castle rep. We should.
Live from Scotland.
We should do one live from Scotland. That'd be very good. But thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next Wednesday. Listen to podcasts, Gunners R Us, iTunes, Spotify. Bye-bye.